Hello everyone, it's Fairy again. Thank you for being here with me today. I would love to share a story about a quiet afternoon in a Hmong village in the highlands of Hà Giang Loop in Vietnam. A place where time seems to slow down and life feels beautifully simple. Late afternoon settled gently over the rocky plateau like a long, peaceful breath released by the mountains. I arrived at the small Hmong village on a late autumn day when the sunlight had softened and the wind carried a cool whisper from distant peaks. The dirt road leading into the village curved between gray limestone slopes, where stone and soil seemed inseparable, as if they had belonged together since the beginning of time. The village lay quietly in a narrow valley. Earthen houses with thick clay walls and old yin-yang tiled roofs stood in small clusters. There were no bright signs, no engines roaring, no hurried footsteps. Only the wind brushing along the ridges and the faint clinking of bells tied around the necks of buffaloes slowly returning home. I placed my backpack down on the wooden porch of a family who had kindly agreed to host me for a few days. The hostess greeted me with a warm, gentle smile. Her hands were rough from years of working in the fields, yet her presence radiated kindness. In her eyes, I saw a sincerity that felt rare in the modern world. As the sun began to sink behind the mountains, the sky transformed gradually. Pale gold turned into amber, then deep crimson, and finally a soft violet blue. Mountain ranges layered into the distance like frozen ocean waves, the closer ones dark and sharp, the farther ones fading into misty blue shadows. Low clouds drifted lazily across the peaks, floating so near it felt as though I could reach up and touch them. They moved slowly, brushing against jagged ridges before dissolving into the wide sky. I sat quietly on the wooden steps, watching the scene unfold. In the city, I rarely looked up at the clouds. Here, they felt alive, present, and close, part of everyday existence. The villagers did not pause to admire them. To them, clouds gliding across mountaintops were as ordinary as breathing. Then, the kitchen smoke began to rise. From each clay house, thin streams of bluish smoke curled upward into the cooling air. The scent of burning firewood spread gently through the valley, earthy, slightly sweet, and deeply comforting. Smoke and evening mist blended together, forming a picture both real and dreamlike. I finally understood why people cherish the image of evening smoke. It is not simply something you see, it is something you feel. At the foot of the hill, children ran barefoot along the dusty path, their brightly embroidered skirts fluttering in the breeze. Their laughter rang clear and pure. A man guided his buffalo home, the soft rhythm of the bell echoing through the fading light. When darkness slowly settled, the hostess invited me into the kitchen. The small room glowed with the red warmth of a wood fire and a single dim yellow bulb hanging from a wooden beam. Smoke lingered beneath the darkened rafters. Bundles of dried corn and strips of smoked pork hung along the walls, filling the air with a rich, savory aroma. Dinner was placed on a low wooden table, simple, modest, yet filled with warmth. A bowl of freshly picked mustard green soup steamed gently. Slices of boiled local pork were served with salt and chili. A bowl of steamed ground corn, men, gave off the comforting fragrance of newly harvested maize. Beside it stood a small cup of clear corn wine, shimmering in the firelight. We sat together around the table. Conversation flowed slowly, about this year's harvest, about newborn piglets, about a son preparing to attend school in the district town. Their voices were calm and steady, occasionally breaking into soft laughter. Though I did not understand every word spoken in Hmong, their smiles and gestures spoke clearly. There was a deep bond between these people and the land that sustained them. The first bite of steamed ground corn, men, felt slightly dry, yet as I chewed, it revealed a gentle sweetness. A sip of corn wine burned lightly in my throat before spreading warmth throughout my chest. The cold air outside seemed to retreat. After dinner, I stepped back onto the porch. Night had fully embraced the valley. The highland sky revealed countless stars, bright, dense, and breathtakingly clear. In the city, such a sky felt impossible. The clouds that once drifted across the peaks had vanished, leaving an endless, silent expanse above. When darkness slowly settled, the hostess invited me into the kitchen. The small room glowed with the red warmth of a wood fire and a single dim yellow bulb hanging from a wooden beam. Smoke lingered beneath the darkened rafters. Bundles of dried corn and strips of smoked pork hung along the walls, filling the air with a rich, savory aroma. The kitchen smoke now lingered only as a faint veil above the rooftops. A soft breeze carried the scent of dry grass and earth. The village fell into quietness, broken only by distant barking dogs and the gentle chorus of insects. I sat there for a long while, not thinking of deadlines or responsibilities. I simply breathed and allowed the stillness to settle within me. Life here did not offer luxury or constant stimulation. There were no glowing cafes, no shopping centers, no endless notifications. Yet there was something far richer, a sense of completeness. The next morning, as mist once again covered the hillsides, I saw the kitchen smoke rising anew. Everything repeated itself, yet nothing felt dull. The rhythm of the Hmong village flowed like the clouds drifting across distant peaks, unhurried, unburdened. When it was time to leave, I turned back for one last look at the small houses fading into morning fog. I knew I would carry the memory of that evening smoke with me, the warmth of the shared meal, the clouds gliding lazily across layered mountains, and the quiet harmony of a life lived close to the earth. In the rush of modern life, perhaps what we truly need is an afternoon like that, sitting quietly on a wooden porch, watching smoke rise into the sky, watching clouds drift across distant peaks, and realizing that happiness does not have to be grand. Sometimes happiness is simply a humble meal shared in a faraway village, where life unfolds in a way that is astonishingly, beautifully simple. If this journey brought you even a moment of calm, I hope you carry that feeling with you into your own busy days. May you find your own evening smoke, a simple pause, a warm meal, a quiet sky, wherever you are. Thank you again for listening, and I look forward to sharing another story with you soon.